Welcome to the video for this week. Today I want to show you some of my favorite open chords. These are in the key of G, and we can play them in some other keys. If we've got a capo, we can chuck a capo on and probably use them effectively up until the 8th fret. So G, A, B flat, B, C, all keys that these chords can work really well in. So we should all know our regular G major chord. I typically prefer to play G without the first finger, muting the A string, which is technically a power chord, but I just like that better. So that's my go-to G major shape. If I want to hear that B note, the third scale degree, I take off that third finger there and play it like that. Often I also play it with third finger like this, which is a really nice way of playing G when you're in the key of C, using open C shapes. But we're not using open C shapes today, we're staying in the key of G. So, if we've got this shape, one really nice thing you can do is add this first finger, because it's free now. We can add this first finger onto the G string in the 2nd fret, which is adding the note A. It's giving it like an add 9 kind of vibe. We can also add it on the D string, same fret, which is adding the note E, which is like a major 6 kind of vibe. That one works really nicely in the key of C. I don't use it super often in the key of G, but that one's really dope. So, some common shapes that we might use in this key, and these are the standard open chords that I really love. So we've got our G shape, we've got our D shape, which is really just like a C chord, but we've added our little finger and slid up 2 frets. We can use that for a D chord. Then we've got an E minor 7 shape, which is basically an E minor chord over top of the bottom 2 notes of the G chord. Then we've got a C at 9 shape, which is basically just a regular G chord with these 2 fingers down a fret. So these are kind of the 4 main open shapes that I might use in the key of G. They're really good for a whole bunch of things. Another one of my favorite shapes is this G major 7th shape. So you take your regular G chord, or the way that I play it without the first finger, and muting the A string. You take that chord there, you take off the little finger, and you put the first finger on the high E in the 2nd fret. And that gives you a lovely major 7 sound. Now, this shape here is essentially a movable shape. We can play it up on the 8th fret, and we get a lovely C major 7 sound. That sounds really nice in the context of like a progression like that, using some of our other shapes in this key. I love how it just kind of pops up there and hits that high note. But being a movable shape, we can take it down a fret, play it on the B, which doesn't sound good at all, because if we're playing it here, it should be a minor 7th chord. And this note here is the 7th scale degree, so if we pop that down, we get the flat 7 and we get a nice minor 7 chord. We can pop that down again and get an A minor 7th chord. So we can essentially move through the whole G major scale using this shape. There's our dominant chord on the 5, and there's our minor 7th chord on the 6. I also particularly like the minor 7th on the 6 up there. Now the shape that we can use, which is a little more complicated, is this D shape like we had before, but we rearrange our fingering and play it with these 3 fingers, and then that frees up our first finger to play that top note down here like it would be in a D chord. It has the same kind of sound as a D chord, so we don't necessarily have to play it like that. If we're playing our G chord, we can also pop up here and use our little finger to get that A. The reason I love these shapes so much is they just give you some really interesting voice leading that you can do, rather than having a progression that might go we can go like this. And all of a sudden you get that melody. Oh, what was it? Something like that. All of a sudden we get that melody at the top of the chords. Try a few of these chords out, see how you go. They're really nice. These are my favourite open chords. The reason they work so well is because we have these open strings that ring out between them, which are all in the key of G. Try them out, try fit them into some of your chord progressions, and remember you can use a capo to play them in other keys. So give this video a like, comment, tell me what you want to learn, and I will see you guys next time. Farewell.